All right, number one Mardik fan here. I am continuing my quest to build a killer kids comic and book library for my young nephews and nieces. We're looking at Babysitter's Little Sister. This is a spin-off series from the Babysitters Club books. I remember these were a big library. All my sisters were eating up these books when they were hip in the 90s, and now they're making graphic novel adaptations. I had a really positive review of the last Babysitters Club book I talked about. I think they're great reading materials for kind of like, preteen girls. Babysitter's Little Sister is definitely in the elementary school reading level. I have a feeling that maybe even like a middle schooler girl might get a little bored with this. Even like the adults talk at kind of like an elementary school level vocabulary, which is fine. That's the protagonist is an elementary school student. The intended audience is elementary school, but that's just kind of like one observation. Other reason I'm reading a lot of these kind of like young adult books is I'm trying to find killer books for my nephew in particular. I got him hooked on Ninja Turtles, right? And I want to have him broaden his horizons. So one of the things I've noticed is, and I'm not the only one who's noticed this, but a lot of modern literature is aimed at preteen girls and kind of like mommy porn type books if you go into the adult section. And if you're lucky, maybe there's a couple classics like Sherlock Holmes or Oliver Twist or something with an ugly modernist cover. And there isn't a lot for boys. I won't say there's nothing for boys. I think Dave Pilkey is making Captain Underpants and Dogman. That's definitely aimed at little boys, and he kind of aims at he writes for elementary school boys, but he also includes cool stuff that's above their grade level, and a lot of manga seems to be aimed at boys still. So this is definitely a girl's book, which is not a ding against it. It's just 100%. This is about little girl having slice of life adventures and learning about interpersonal relationships. I think this is an adequate book. I'm happy to give it to my niece. I don't think it has a bad moral or anything. I think it has a good moral, but it is what it is. And not quite as complex as the Babysitter's Club, but again, elementary school age audience. With that in mind, let's talk a little bit about it. So our protagonist is Karen. She is the little sister of one of the members of the Babysitters Club, and she's in a divorced household. Both of her parents have remarried, so she has 4 grandmas, and her second grade school does adopt a grandma program for little old folks at the nursing home. So Karen gets the idea that it'd be fun to have a 5th grandma because she likes having four grandmas. Having 4 grandmas is great. Having 5 grandmas would be even better. She might get more toys out of it. So Karen's personality is well-meaning. She likes to do nice things, but then over the course of the story, she finds that volunteering to do these nice things is more work and more responsibility than she initially thought it was. So she thought it would be fun to have a 5th grandma. Then she finds out, well, that means I've got to visit her a lot and hear all her boring stories. And the second subplot is Karen's little friend, Nancy, is afraid of old people. So Karen gets the bright idea that, my grandma who lives in Nebraska and has a farm, she can be like your pen pal grandma. And so Kristen and Nancy and her grandma in Nebraska really hit it off. Grandma's sending Nancy all kinds of letters and photos, and Karen immediately starts feeling jealous. Why am I not getting big letters with lots of photos in them? Does my grandma not love me anymore? So the consistent theme is Karen does something nice. She is a thoughtful little person, but then she starts to regret that as she realizes that that means that grandma isn't paying as much attention to me as I think she should be. Or maybe the old lady I'm volunteering with at the old home isn't as fun as I thought she would be. So the arc, of course, is Karen, kind of learning to listen better to her adopted grandma and kind of like recognize that doing this job doesn't mean it's all going to be fun and games, and learning that her real grandma doesn't love her any less just because she's sending notes to Nancy. One quibble I have is that I don't think Karen ever quite becomes self-aware of this. It's sort of like the story teaches that moral without Karen ever like putting 2 and 2 together, that that's what she should be doing, that basically signing up for this job means she should be she should have the responsibility to commit to what she said she was going to do. She said she wanted to be this old lady's adopted grandchild, and her temptation is to sort of like skive off it and go play with her friends. Now, the way it works out is everything kind of works out serendipitously. She ends up introducing Nancy to the old lady at the nursing home, and they're both Jewish, so they have like this shared religion and shared cultural connection. Nancy gets over her fear of old people, and her family kind of adopts Grandma B from the nursing home and they go to synagogue together. So everything kind of works out for Karen, that now she's managed to help her friend find someone, and that now they're a grandma and adopted grandchild. She becomes content that, I don't need to have 5 grandmas. I have 4 grandmas. That's plenty. And she understands that just because her grandma is writing letters to someone, that doesn't mean that it's the lesson that just because someone has more than one person in their life, that doesn't mean that love is a zero-sum game. Just because my grandma pays attention to this person, that doesn't mean she loves me any less. So Karen doesn't quite put 2 and 2 together and realize this, but the narrative still reinforces that. And I guess that's fair because she's like a second grader, so she doesn't necessarily need to be the most self-aware person for it to work. Also, there's some silly humor of like the girls put on a little pumpkin play for the old people where they recite poems, and the goofy boys, they put on a play about going to the moon and discovering dinosaurs. And there is a triceratops. We have found dinosaurs on the moon. We are heroes. Me and the boys moment right there. Haha, boys and girls are different. So yeah, it's an effective little slice of life comedy. Probably wouldn't be of great interest to, like middle school readers and up, but for elementary school readers, I think this would be perfectly fine. And I like the moral, not crazy ambitious, but it's a fun, it is a fun, effective little slice of life tale. So my niece will be getting this one. All right, that's it. Love you guys. Catch you later.